Every lesson is a lyric in the universal song. Oh, the lessons of the journey, I'll weave them in my song.
Welcome back to Lessons of the Journey, where we talk about the things we should have learned in school, like how to handle conflict without losing your mind, your peace, or your relationships. I'm Coach Jen, here with Coach Nicole, and this is the third episode in our Conflict Code series. If you've been with us from the start, you already know conflict isn't the villain, it's the mirror. In episode 1, we talked about why conflict shows up and what it's trying to teach you. In episode 2, we explored how your attachment style shapes the way you fight, flee, or freeze. And today we're getting practical. We're breaking down the 4 communication habits that silently destroy connection. We'll talk about how they show up, what they sound like in real life, and most importantly, how to stop riding those horses straight into disconnection. So, if you've ever wondered why your arguments feel like deja vu, or why you shut down when things get tense, this episode is for you. Because conflict doesn't have to mean disconnection. With awareness and intention, it can become the doorway to deeper understanding and stronger relationships. So take a breath. Let's unpack what really happens when emotions rise and how to rewrite your patterns for connection instead of destruction.
Let's kick things off with a shared definition of conflict. Jen, what do you got for us today?
Yep. As a noun, conflict is a fight, battle, or struggle, especially a prolonged strife, controversy, or quarrel, and really a discord of action, feeling, or effect. And if we can all agree that that's what we mean when we're referring to conflict, let's have at it.
I think that's great. I love the word discord. The Gottman Institute's research shows that how couples handle conflict is actually more important than whether they have conflict at all. Mm-hmm. There is also research suggesting that people who engage in healthy conflict within their intimate relationships tend to have better conflict skills in other areas of life, such as work, friendships, and family. While the relationship is not always causal or perfectly symmetrical, there is a strong correlation between how we manage conflict in close relationships and how we handle it elsewhere. So the spillover effect of interpersonal conflict skills study, this is with Coughlin, JP, and Evangelisti AL in 2006. Conflict in romantic relationships, unpacking the bad and amplifying the good. Key insight was individuals who practice constructive communication, active listening, compromise, and emotional regulation in their romantic relationships are more likely to carry those same skills into professional and social interactions. Why? Because close relationships are where we practice vulnerability, boundaries, and repair, all of which are foundational for broader conflict navigation. Mm-hmm. Bowen's family systems theory suggests that individuals often replicate patterns of conflict resolution learned and practiced in family or romantic relationships across other systems. Example, your work, your peer groups, those who develop differentiation of self, which is the ability to stay connected while remaining emotionally independent, tend to handle all types of conflict more effectively.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. You and I talk regularly about how children learn, and it's inside of the home and what their parents or parent or adults who hang out with them are modeling for them. That is how they learn. Yes. They're not listening to what we tell them. They're watching what we do.
Yes.
That makes a ton of sense. Absolutely.
And I'm learning how to do conflict with the person I'm conflicting the most with.
Yes.
Which generally tends to be someone I'm in a close relationship with.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah,
Sorry,
a
Jim.
lot of sense. Good luck out there, folks. Well, so let's get started breaking down the 4 horsemen. These are the things that predict relationship breakdown. And it's criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. The definition of criticism in relationships is when you attack your partner's character or personality rather than addressing a specific behavior. It often starts with blame, and it implies something is wrong with the person, not just the thing that they did. Some examples of criticism sound like, you never think about anybody but yourself, or why are you so lazy? or you always do this or that. You always ruin things. You always show up late. That is criticism. It's attacking who they are. It's a you thing. We talked about this in episode 2, and it's a bummer to receive, really. So how are we spotting criticism? Here's some everyday interactions might look like. Something like this. You always or never language. Really, in life, somebody probably doesn't always or never. And that very overgeneralizes things. So what might it sound like? You never help me with the dishes, or you never do the laundry. Here's why it's harmful. It really exaggerates and blames the person, not the action. Another signal of criticism is a character attack. Like, you're so selfish, stupid, lazy, whatever that might look like. And again, you're labeling the person instead of addressing the behavior. A signal, if there's no clear request for change, like, you're impossible, you just, we can't even talk about this, would be venting without offering a path forward. That's another form of criticism. And then, of course, blame focus statements like, this is all your fault. This wouldn't have happened if you didn't. And it really shuts down productive conversation. Let's be very clear. A complaint is different than a criticism. A complaint targets the behavior, not the person. And this, in fact, is healthy. A complaint might feel like, I felt frustrated when I got home and the dishes were still in the sink. Can we figure out a better plan for our chores? Whereas the criticism might sound like, you're so irresponsible, you never clean up after yourself. You can even hear and feel the difference in those two statements. So what do we do instead? The Gottmans talk about a softened startup. This is what it sounds like. You're going to talk about your own feelings first. I feel overwhelmed when I come home and there's dishes in the sink. So you're naming the behavior. You're not criticizing the person. I feel overwhelmed when the kitchen is left messy. And then you need to ask for what you need. Can we agree on a cleanup routine? Altogether, this is what it sounds like. I feel overwhelmed when the kitchen is left messy. Could we agree on a cleanup routine? Not one part of that said, you.
This is so much clarity for me. I never understood the difference between a complaint and a criticism. I knew generally what the difference was, but in arguments, I didn't understand the value of separating the two. Here's my complaint. Here's a criticism. Criticism is mean. It's rude. It's unnecessary. Complaint is something we need to work together. And I'm always about the win-win, that we work together. I wrote down me dash behavior dash need. Like, talk about me. That's what I'm about. You do this.
Yeah.
You make me feel this way. Not true. Okay. And when you were talking about, like, you never do the dishes, I'm always like, you never listen. And yet it's, I don't feel heard.
That's right.
I need to feel heard.
Yep.
Yes.
I stick up for Tim in this one, Nicole. I know that man listens to you.
I know he does. He does.
Well, you never listen is not, yeah.
And like you said, and thank you for pointing that out, the always and the never. We know always and never are words that never apply.
Yeah.
And yet we will say them because we're frustrated or we're heated. And it's so interesting to have this clarity of, because I always would say, but then how can I bring my complaint to the table? And this is such a healthy way to do that.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah. And remember that it's us against the problem. It's not me against you against the problem. The point in the partnering, and this happens to be talking about intimate relationships, but you can really see how it could apply across the board. In a workspace, oh, I'm having a bummer time with my coworker, and we really need to get this project done. So how am I going to bring this so that it's not us against each other and then the project? We need to come together. So what kind of language can we use to make that work so that the project can happen? And things like dishes or cleaning up, those are all projects. So if we think about them globally, it really can apply across all realms.
So true.
Yeah.
That's such good clarity. We're going to move on to number 2, the second horseman. Contempt, the definition of contempt in relationships. Contempt conveys disrespect, superiority, or scorn. It goes beyond criticism by implying that one partner is morally or intellectually better than the other. It often includes sarcasm, mocking, name-calling, eye-rolling, sneering, or hostile humor. So examples of contempt in relationships: mocking or sarcasm. Here's an example. Oh, wow, you finally decided to help around the house. Should I call the press? Ooh, this mocks the partner's efforts instead of appreciating or constructively addressing an issue. So true. Eye rolling or sneering during a disagreement. One partner rolls their eyes or sighs dramatically. Teenagers, we're talking to you. Nonverbal contempt like this communicates disdain without words. Yes, teenagers do have disdain for us.
Wives sometimes do too. I'm sure the husbands are, I don't know.
The men are like, yeah, we do too.
Yeah.
Us too. Name calling or insults. You're so pathetic. How do you not understand something this simple?
Ouch.
This devalues the partner and undermines their self-worth.
Yeah.
So hostile humor or belittling is another one. You're just like your mother, completely useless in a crisis.
Ooh.
Ouch. Humorous tone or not, this is meant to hurt and belittle. Moral superiority, another one. At least I actually care about this relationship. You clearly don't. This puts one partner on a moral high ground, often shaming the other.
Yeah.
Ouch. So why is contempt harmful? Because it erodes the emotional bond in a relationship, and because it makes the recipient feel unloved, unworthy, and unseen.
Yeah.
Over time, it will foster resentment, it'll shut down empathy, and it'll make reconnection difficult. You know what? It actually has health effects. Research shows that couples who display contempt are more likely to experience higher rates of illness due to weakened immune function from chronic stress, greater likelihood of divorce or separation.
Yeah, if somebody's calling me names.
I'm like, oh yeah. Decreased levels of intimacy and trust.
Absolutely.
So what do we do instead? We build a culture of appreciation and respect. We make daily efforts to express gratitude, affection, and respect. We regularly acknowledge your partner's strengths and efforts.
Absolutely.
Thank you for picking up groceries. I know you had a full day.
Yep.
That's interesting because it's not just thank you, but it's thank you because I know you're busy too. I know you had a full day. I love that. That's such a great add-on right there.
Yeah, it really is. And in maybe especially a marriage partnership where there are varying tasks inside of a household, I have found myself doing this. Well, nobody thanks me for packing lunches and getting the kids up and bath time and brush teeth. And why do I have to appreciate him for doing X? Yeah. That leads to contempt. Absolutely. I can tell you personally that as we have been able to really build upon exactly what Nicole said, the culture, and it really is a culture inside of our house now of appreciation and respect. And we are showing our children the same thing. We are modeling it and we are also acting it out with our children. It has changed everything for the better inside of this house because we are all living full lives. Life is hard sometimes. There is so much to do around here. Appreciation is a wonderful thing. Secret, footnote, appreciation gets you more of what you're looking for. Gratitude gets you more of what you're looking for. If somebody's putting me down all the time, I'm not trying to show up for that. But if somebody's going, wow, Jen, you know what? That was an amazing thing that you did. I got this little dopamine hit. I want more of that. I'm going to do more of that thing to hopefully get more of the dopamine hits. So here's the little trick. Appreciate and give gratitude more, and you're going to see more of the behavior that you're looking for.
You are so right. And if your partner's love language is words of affirmation. I could never have a partner who did those things to me. What you brought up, Jen, when you said the culture, I've always thought my husband creates this fantastic culture at home, and he wrote a book on the culture in your business. He's an expert at that stuff. So of course, that same thing, it comes from work and it comes home. He does the same thing at home, creates a great culture. So that concept of it affects everything. If you are a grateful person and you're grateful for your partner, are you then going to show up at work and be grateful for the people around you at work? You are, because you're thinking in the terms of gratitude. So
Absolutely.
Great point.
Yeah. And you've heard me say before, as often as we can, we sit down together as a family and we say our gratitudes out loud. And what I've noticed in my children is that it puts them out into the world looking for things to be amazed by.
Yes.
I think it's such a beautiful thing. I didn't grow up like that. I had to learn these types of things. It's a special kind of energy that's floating around when you're out there looking for goodness, because you know that later today I'm going to have to share it with my family.
It's so true. And what if you were having a conflict with someone at work? I think it's something like 89% of people have conflicts with people at work. I can't remember what the stat was, but it was very high. It surprised me. And I'm thinking, what if you actually showed up at work and the person you were having the biggest conflict with, what if you gave them a compliment?
Mm-hmm.
And something you really, truly were grateful for that they do? Would that not change the dynamics?
100%.
I think it would really make a difference. As we've said before, we're all just children looking for love.
That's right. You know what? We don't know what we don't know. And here we are trying to help. So number 3, and I take this one personally, we're going to talk about the definition of defensiveness, which is another one of the 4 horsemen. It's a self-protective behavior. It comes up when one partner feels accused, attacked, or blamed. So instead of listening or taking responsibility, they deny, counterattack, make excuses. So it's definitely a way to deflect responsibility and shield themselves from perceived criticism. But it often escalates to conflict instead of resolving it. And I can speak firsthand on this. So this comes from triggers in childhood, but here's why it happens. You feel unfairly blamed or misunderstood. You fear rejection or failure. You might have low self-esteem or shame surrounding said thing that you're being defensive about. And you might have a habitual reaction to conflict learned in childhood or past relationships. So I feel attacked with these bullet points. And here's how it shows up. Partner might say, you said you would call when you left work and I waited up. And partner B, defensive partner, says, well, I had a crazy day and my phone died. What do you want me to do? And I give it a little bit of tone and attitude. That's kind of how I think that it might come out. So instead of acknowledging the impact or offering reassurance to partner number 1, the defensive partner shifts the focus to justifying their actions. So that's invalidating and deflecting. Another example, counterattack. Partner 1, I felt hurt when you didn't back me up in front of your family the other day. Defensive partner might say, oh, please, you never defend me when we're around your friends. What does this do? It avoids addressing the concern or the behavior, and it redirects blame back at the complainant, and it escalates conflict. That's another way we get into these fights. A third way, playing the victim. The injured party might say, it upsets me when you interrupt me during arguments. And the defensive partner might say, well, nothing I do is ever good enough for you. You're always on my case. What does this do? It makes the other person feel guilty for even bringing up an issue. Long term, they stop bringing up issues. It's not a good thing. Another way of being defensive is denial or an actual refusal to engage at all. The injured party might say, I got hurt when you forgot our anniversary. And the defensive partner might say, I didn't forget. You're exaggerating. We didn't even say we were doing anything this year. That's not even accepting the complaint. Denying the issue completely invalidates that other person's experience, and you feel dismissed when that happens. Here's why it's harmful. It blocks accountability. It prevents the partner from owning their part in the conflict. Accountability is so necessary in interpersonal relationships. It's also harmful because it actually escalates the arguments. It often leads to more blame, more frustration, and stonewalling. And it undermines trust in the relationship. The defensive partner seems more invested in protecting themselves than in understanding or repairing the relationship. Here's me. Yep. So what do we do instead? There's an antidote to defensiveness, and that is to take responsibility, even for a small part of the conflict. So it could sound like this. You know what? You're right. I should have called. I can see how that might have left you hanging. I'll do better next time. And all it does is validate. I'm just taking responsibility for the injury because I was a part of that. This kind of response shows empathy, accountability, and a willingness to repair. And that strengthens the relationship instead of tearing it down.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm never defensive. Who hasn't had this one?
100%. Yeah.
Like, stop talking about me.
I had to do a lot of work surrounding this. And what it led to was triggers from childhood for me. And so, we're sitting here saying this is how it might show up. We're not saying that you don't have to do the work to figure out why or how it got there. Why do I feel defensive all the time? I had to sit with that for a really long time and go, oh, I never felt like my feelings mattered. Now that I'm an adult and I know that it matters, I get defensive when I feel criticized. When we talked about criticism, that word in there was perceived. I am perceiving criticism, so I automatically turn defensive. That is my style, and I've been working on it. And I tell you, the active work makes you a better person.
That is the key, though. Feels.
Yes.
You're taking it as something it may completely not be.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It could 100% be a trauma response from childhood. And I feel accused. I feel attacked.
Yeah.
I'm not being accused or attacked. I may just have someone bringing a complaint, not even a criticism, a complaint.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I'm feeling attacked and I'm going to be defensive. You have to check.
Yeah.
Yeah. Taking accountability. This is definitely something I have been working on in my conflicts. What accountability can I take? And I've even gotten to a point where I'll say, hey, I'll take 30% of that.
She's giving percentages now.
Well,
Tim's like, I'm going to need you to take 35. All right.
No, Tim will go, I'll take 80. You can take 20. He always gives me less because Tim's amazing. We love Tim. That is sort of the thing, is the accountability. And I'm so big on accountability. Like when somebody doesn't take accountability for their actions, it drives me nuts.
Yeah, me too. I'm big on that as well.
And so here we are talking about accountability, and you're kind of twisting the knife in my heart right now. And it's also good for me. This is all so good.
It's good for all of us, really, to be reminded. And that's where the team aspect comes in. You don't have a team if only one party is playing by the rules.
Yes.
And I was a team athlete my entire life. Everybody has a job to do in this team aspect. So that language, usually the defensiveness comes from the you, always, never, it's not me. So of course we're going to shut down. That's a natural response. If one partner can work on the language, the other partner can work on how they're receiving this. And it really is a team. Oh, I don't want my teammate to feel this way. I don't want the person that I'm committed to forever to feel this way. I don't want my children to feel this way. So how am I going to show up differently?
Yeah. And the flooded part too. I think we get defensive when we get flooded.
Absolutely.
And you were talking about it. I was like, oh, I got to get one of those stupid pulse things.
Pulse oximeter.
Seriously. I'm like, and then I'll know. I'll be like, oh, damn it. I can't argue right now.
Isn't it funny how you really want to jump in when you're at the height of being the most illogical?
Yeah, because your amygdala is being hijacked. You have no logic going, slow down. But I want to get in there now.
Yeah. Let's see how bad we can make this.
Yeah. I'm getting a pulse ox because it's cheaper than a rage room, right?
That's right. It is $10. Easy. Let's go.
All right. Well, number 4 in the 4 horsemen is stonewalling. So stonewalling is when a person withdraws from interaction, shuts down emotionally, or refuses to engage during conflict. Now, it's not just silence. It's actually a defensive response to feeling overwhelmed or flooded, where one partner shuts off communication entirely. This is so difficult for me because I'm the person who does the exact opposite of this, but I have people in my world that are like this. And oh my gosh, I tried everything to get them to engage. And boy, was that a mistake. So interesting to learn this. It can look like going silent during arguments, leaving the room without explanation, responding with short, dismissive answers, avoiding eye contact or showing no facial expression, refusing to acknowledge the issue at all. Man, this is digging in. Okay, why it happens. Stonewalling is often a protective mechanism. When someone feels emotionally overwhelmed, anxious, or threatened by conflict, they must shut down to avoid escalating the situation or because they don't have the tools to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Common causes: emotional flooding, that we talked about, fear, confrontation, learned behavior, example from childhood or past relationships. And by the way, when we say learned behavior, that doesn't necessarily mean learned from someone else. It could have been, or it could have just been a learned coping mechanism.
Yes.
The other one is discomfort with vulnerability or intense emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of examples of stonewalling. I'm taking so much of this in, it's crazy. Silent treatment, number one. So partner A says, can we please talk about what happened earlier? Partner B sits silently, avoids eye contact, and says nothing. This leaves a partner feeling invisible and emotionally abandoned.
Yeah.
Another example of stonewalling is physically leaving the room without a word. Partner A, I'm really upset you didn't show up to the dinner. Partner B gets up and walks out without responding. Oh my gosh, I'd want to bang my head up against the wall.
Rude.
Yeah. This escalates the emotional tension and communicates disengagement. Third example, flat one-word responses. Partner A, is something wrong? You seem distant. Partner B, no. And then looks away. Oh my gosh. Technically replying, but emotionally closed off and unavailable.
Yep.
You think?
Yep.
Number 4 would be avoiding conflict completely. Partner A says, we need to talk about how we're dividing responsibilities. Partner B says, I don't want to fight. Let's just drop it. Ooh, this deflects conflict under the guise of keeping peace, but avoids resolution. So why is stonewalling harmful? Well, it creates emotional disconnection and abandonment. It triggers anxiety and insecurity in the other partner. It prevents problems from being processed or resolved, leads to resentment and long-term communication breakdown. Stonewalling makes the other person feel shut out, like their concerns don't matter. Over time, it can absolutely destroy trust and intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
What is the antidote to stonewalling? Take a break, calm down, re-engage, physiological self-soothing. Now, taking a break, but letting the other person know what you're doing.
Yes, communication is necessary.
So when someone feels overwhelmed, it's healthier to pause the conversation and come back when both people feel more emotionally regulated. And this is where I have such difficulty. I do not stonewall ever. This is not my thing. But when people stonewall me, I'm like, what the hell? Because it's that like, why do you need to calm down? You're fine. You're calm. No, maybe they're not.
Yeah. I'm a recovering stonewaller.
Let me read the response and then we'll talk about that. So first of all, when someone feels overwhelmed, it's healthier to pause the conversation, come back when both people feel more emotionally regulated. So we talked about the 20 minutes, but if it takes more, that's okay. So here's the example response. I'm feeling flooded and can't think clearly right now. Can we take 20 minutes and get back to this? This models self-awareness and a commitment to resolution without shutting down completely. So yeah, talk to me about this because this is you.
Let me just address this and work backwards. If you are the one that has the awareness that you are feeling flooded and you ask for the break, you then have to be the one to go back and re-engage when you said you would. That is the complete circle of what this response needs to look like. Because if you ask for a break and then you don't ever get back to it, that leads right back to emotional dysregulation, disconnection, dropping it for the purpose of peace, that whole thing that Nicole just went through. So it is absolutely necessary that you return to the conversation.
You're saying you can't use that as an example to avoid the conflict completely?
Can't roll out. Gotta come back. Yeah.
Because I'd be setting a timer. I'd be like, 20.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. You'd be like, you said 20 minutes. It's been 21. Where are you?
Because we are back at it
Yes.
now. Hopefully I'd be like calm. And I think I would be. But yeah, that's a legitimate point.
And as a reminder that 20 minutes needs to be engagement in something that's not reiterating recreating the fight that just happened and figuring out all of your future responses to when you go back. We're not building our case over this 20 plus minutes. Now, if you know yourself, or this is a very intense thing and you don't think that 20 minutes is going to be long enough, you say, hey, I need to take a break. Can we come back to this afternoon at 3 p.m.? Or whatever that looks like, because this is a very intense thing for me. And I really have some things that I need to figure out before then. That is okay. The important part is coming back. If you don't come back, it breaks trust and that erodes the relationship. Nicole just talked about that.
I want to point out that what's actually physically happening, and this is why you're taking the break, your amygdala is being hijacked.
Yes.
So your prefrontal cortex is shut off. Your prefrontal cortex is what tells you not to tell people to F off.
Yeah.
Because it's not okay and this is someone you love. That is shut down. So your logic brain is gone. That is why you need to emotionally regulate, is because you have to bring that logic brain back on track. Guess what? You're no longer a part of the team. You have to step away and get yourself back on the track so you can be part of the team with that prefrontal cortex. This is one of the most important things, because you actually physically can't be in this in a positive way.
Yeah.
You just can't. You can't show up positive.
You can't. And again, learned behavior, whether you created it yourself, saw other people handle conflict this way, the way that it has affected me most in my life, which is why I say I'm recovering, because we have certainly done the work to do it. The resentment and long-term communication breakdown. What the Gottmans talk about is the idea of repair. That's so important because we are simply humans living a human life, and there is conflict. It's everywhere. And what happens is that if we're able to then quickly and effectively repair the conflict, what might that look like? You know what? I did freak out on you earlier. I apologize. That's not how I want to show up in this. I love you. And can I try again? That is an attempt at repair. That is necessary in intimate relationships and parent-child relationships. Oh man, parent-child relationships. It's necessary in friendships. It's necessary all around. Because if we don't attempt the repair, then we hold on to these nasty feelings that just get reiterated in our brain over and over. And until somebody goes, hey, can we not do that anymore? I'd like to try to be different. There's something about that that makes you go, oh, yeah, I would like that to be different too. Because living in this heightened sense all the time, it's rough, man. That's too stressful. It's a hard way to go.
That's very difficult.
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot of awareness. And I think most people think that to show up that way, it takes vulnerability. I think it takes awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Because even knowing that that's an option, and like you said, being on the team, if we're going to all be on the team, then we want the same things, which is success for both of us in a relationship. And if I want success for you and I want success for me in our relationship, whatever it looks like, that means bringing you up with me, not putting you down and I'm going to rise up. We got to bring each other up together. That's the point of a team. So I love that you use that analogy, because this makes so much sense. And understanding when you just can't show up in that space, understanding that that's the moment to walk away. That's huge awareness.
It really is. And for me personally, it was a safety mechanism. It was this continues to happen, and I'm not going to sit here and either be treated this way. And this is across the board. This isn't just inside my house. I'm not going to be treated this way. I'm not feeling seen. I'm not feeling heard. And I don't know what to do with this. So my safety mechanism is to stop and shut down and walk away, because why would I continue to put myself in the situation where I'm feeling this way? So the stonewalling, it comes from a good place. It comes from the caveman place that says, I need to protect myself now. And what we know that erodes the relationship. Yeah, it's a tough one, because it really does take understanding the trigger. Where's this coming from? Why do I do this?
I wish I had known this 30 years ago before my second child was born, because my second child is a stonewaller. That is what he does. He can shut down like nobody's business. And I've never understood why. I always thought he was shutting down because he didn't care. Now to understand why he truly was shutting down would have completely changed some of the interactions between us. We always got along very well, but just in loving your child, you want to understand why they're reacting in the way that they're reacting. And again, I don't stonewall in any way, shape, or form. I'm probably the exact opposite of that. Yet knowing that when I'm dealing with someone who is like, oh, okay, this person just needs a break. Got it. Didn't realize.
Yeah.
Didn't know what I didn't know. Sorry, child.
I think that things like this, we often think, oh gosh, I messed that up. Oops, messed that up. What we can still do 30 years later is go back and repair that. You know what?
Yeah.
I learned information today that I didn't know before. And if this hurt you or impacted our relationship in any way, I just want to say, I didn't know and I know better now and I'm sorry. That is a great repair, even so much time later, and so necessary in our interpersonal relationships.
Huge.
I think that's really amazing awareness. You know, we didn't know what we didn't know. And that's what we're here doing. And this is why this should have been taught in school.
Right. I know kids who do this. Are those kids even going to know why they're doing it? If my son couldn't have, it wasn't like he was like, well, I'm flooded, Mom, but I don't want to tell you.
Right.
He didn't know either what was happening. I just feel like this can open up some interactions with him. I have a great rapport with him. I will definitely be having a conversation. This is so interesting.
I think you addressed actually in episode 2 of this conflict series that it's necessary in these moments to assume good intent from the other person. So they're leaving, but I know they're not trying to hurt me. So there must be, it's that curiosity that we want to come from. I'm assuming that they love me because we have this relationship. I know this to be true. So I don't believe that their intent is to injure me in any way. What else might be happening?
Yeah. And for me personally, being able to think logically, I can tell when I'm hijacked, but that doesn't mean I can control it. But I know it's happening. I have this like inside voice going, you're in that space, you've been hijacked, but I still can't think logically. So at that point, thinking that way just wasn't even an option for me. Again, what we were talking about, options. We didn't even know we had some of these options. I'm going to get your book. I want to learn more about this.
The Gottmans, they're really incredible. In my house, we appreciate it. It's data driven. Yeah. They have studied relationships for 40 years.
Fantastic.
And over time, the same relationships. And we're talking about like in the 90s percentile, they can determine from meeting a couple and watching them interact, whether they will stay together long-term or not. From just a simple watching an interaction. So it's fascinating that they've narrowed these things down to, here's the 4 horsemen, here's what will lead to relationships rupturing, and here's the antidote. You can recognize this. Here's what that might feel like. Here's your better option. And it's like, well, shit, the science is there.
It's right in front of us. I find this absolutely fascinating. To reiterate, the horseman, the definition of the antidote. Number 1 was criticism. The definition is a personal attack. The antidote is the gentle startup. That was the me versus you. Second horseman was contempt. Definition would be disrespect or superiority. An antidote would be appreciation and respect. The third horseman was defensiveness. Definition, blame shifting, denial. The antidote is take responsibility. Number 4 was stonewalling. Definition was emotional withdrawal. Antidote, take a break to self-soothe, and then re-engagement. Okay, so this is John Gottman, the Gottman Institute, Gottman. And will you say the name of the workbook you have, just so our listeners know?
Yeah, right here. We walk the walk. This is from the Gottman Institute. It's the Art and Science of Love. And this is particularly a couples workbook. It's got such amazing tools in it. It came along with videos, and it really is, it was a live thing that the Gottmans did. It was a weekend workshop, but then they also sold this. And, you know, we have family. The information is amazing. It's practice, 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 practice. So getting back to that team, I say it out loud because that's my process. I go, I'm going to practice this thing right now and watch me doing it because it's very important that you see me doing this so you know that I am trying to do this. And, you know, the little wins along the way, you've probably heard me say before, we'll give each other a high five. We'll be like, did we just get through that without any one of the 4 horsemen? We're awesome. High five. We're celebrating those little wins along the way. You're rewiring those neurons up there that says, look, we can do it differently. The hope is with the practice, we tell our kids this, you practice anything, you're going to get good at it. But you got to practice. You need to get in there and really put the reps in because you can't do it once and be like, well, it's you. You're not doing it. Nope, that's not going to work. The things that I have found the most helpful are those I statements. It's explaining my experience inside of the thing. Mm-hmm. I felt this when I witnessed this. Not when you did. It's how I am being affected. And there's a big assumption here. The other party, especially in the intimate relationship, doesn't want you to feel any way, shape, or form shitty. And so they want to show up and be like, oh, I guess that if I experienced it that way, I might feel the same way too. That is called validation. And that is the single most important thing that you can do in accepting the influence of somebody else. And that doesn't mean agree. Let me be very clear. Validating does not mean agreeing. Validating means hearing your partner's experience and saying, that's not how I experienced it. And yet I hear you now telling me your experience, and I guess I can see how you might have felt that way. Not, I agree. We can come to the agreement later, and it's just necessary to help the other person feel seen and heard, validating that experience.
Yeah, it's, I agree you have the right to feel that way in this situation. It's not, I agree with the entirety of what you're believing. It's just, I agree you have the right to feel that way. And we all have the right to feel, and emotions are important, and we need to talk about them and be okay with them.
Yeah. And then that's where the getting into the softened startup and the appreciation and respect and the taking responsibility. If you can find a portion in the complaints where you go, yeah, I can take accountability for that piece of it. Oh, does that lower tensions? I tell ya, we're just looking for somebody to share in this moment. I think that it's really, really good stuff.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
I think we should go into our takeaways.
Oh, the last hour. That's
the whole damn thing.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm going to go first. Having you on the other side of this and understanding that we experience things so differently, that I can still love you and appreciate you with the different background that you're bringing, what a conflict might look like. And that's in a friendship, that's in an intimate relationship. The ability to go, oh, they're not like me, and that's okay. This is how they're experiencing it, and this is how they're going to approach it. It's different from me, but it's not wrong. This is where I'm coming from, and this is how I'm experiencing, and this is how I'm approaching it, and these are my triggers. That's not wrong either. It's how are we doing this together? How are we looking for repair? How are we validating and appreciating? And oh my goodness, I thought everybody had to do it like me. Otherwise you were wrong or dumb. And if you're doing it this way, like my face can't hide the way I'm feeling sometimes. My biggest takeaway is, oh, they're doing it differently than me, and that's okay. How do we find common ground?
That is so beautifully put, because there are so many times in life where I see people doing specific things and I look at them and go, I just don't understand why anyone would think that way.
Yeah.
And I want to understand why they think that way. Anytime I have that awareness, it's like the light bulb goes off and I go, oh my gosh, that's so cool that I now understand this person. Mm-hmm. I love that you said that and you put it beautifully. I agree with you on that. And I'm going to ditto that. And complaint versus criticism. I love clarity around how to articulate the difference and how to understand the difference. Coming into this, I didn't even know that I needed a difference between complaint and criticism when it came to conflict. Look at all the C's we're coming up with today. Mm-hmm. I just love that. I think that's fascinating and amazing. Wow. Yeah. This was so cool. Understanding. I love you. I love you as a person. I love what you stand for. I love who you are. And knowing that there's all these times when I go, oh, that's me. And you go, oh, this one's me. And I'm just like, oh, see, we're all different, but we're still lovable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And just remembering that what we're fighting about probably isn't what the fight is actually about. I think that's so important. The ability to look beyond and be curious. I would also like to say that often when we have conversations like this, there's one party that goes, yeah, I do all of that. And that person just doesn't, whatever. Okay, if that's truly the case, if that's truly the case, I invite you to take a look at that relationship as a whole. Usually it's the woman going, I'm doing this and he just, okay, well.
The first question is, are you?
Yeah.
Because sometimes we want to look at the other person and we don't want to look at what we're doing.
Right. What am I bringing to the table?
Go through this list. And if you can really wholeheartedly say, I'm giving 100%, am I really showing up this way? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes the answer is no. And that's hard. Why do you think we sit here and say, okay, stop talking to me, stop? I mean, like, we're feeling it too. I literally felt like when she was talking about defensiveness, I was like, but I'm not defensive. I'm I mean, I could feel it within me. I could feel the internal reaction of my body going, okay, I've done that. Oh, okay, I've done that. We all do some of it to a degree, of course, because we're human. And yet our goal needs to be to not do it.
Yeah.
To come from the opposite direction.
This is me and defensiveness. I had to get there in my triggers, and the Gottmans talk a lot about what are your triggers, and the triggers really are not from the relationship that you're in. It's from something from well before. So let's go through Jen's defensiveness. And this is it in a nutshell. I learned that I become defensive because I don't ever want to feel like I'm letting somebody down, somebody that I care about. So if I am perceiving criticism, I turn defensive because, well, that means I'm not good enough. And I couldn't possibly live with not being good enough because XYZ showed up in my life well before now.
Yeah.
I grew up thinking that I had to be this, or I had to be this, or I had to be this. If I'm perceiving criticism, that means that I'm not enough. And I so very badly want to be enough. So I get defensive. That is the mechanism. That is the loop for me personally. I'm sharing this because I know it's not just me. If you can identify with, oh, I see where Jen got there. Why do I get defensive? Let's take a look at how I get there. What is the root cause? Well, my root cause is I just want to be the best for you because I love you so much. If you're telling me that I'm not, my entire world is crushed and I can't live with that. So I have to be defensive now and run away from this instead of addressing my own demons and going, you're not telling me I'm not good enough. You're telling me you would like help with this. And I'm really the only one that can do that with you. I see you and I love you and thank you. Oh, the work.
It came from somewhere positive.
Yeah.
And sometimes it comes from survival. You don't know. And it's not really important to understand where it came from other than to understand, like you do,
that it exists.
What the cycle is. You don't have to go back and analyze your childhood and figure out why you do that. All you need to do is move forward. And nowadays, honestly, with cell phones, if you really think you do all of these things, number one, you may not be somebody who wants to improve. And that's just a reality. And that's okay. If I hurt somebody's feelings, I don't care because that's just truth.
We're okay with that.
Nicole will truth bomb you. You have a cell phone. The next time you get in an argument, record yourself. Tell your partner, say, I'm going to record this argument and then say these words to your partner. Because I think I have patterns that don't help us get along as well as we could. And I would like to improve those. And then when you listen to it, find out how many times you say you and find out how many times you point the finger at the other person instead of taking accountability for yourself, because that may answer a lot of questions for you if you really want to know. But you also have to want to know. You have to want to improve.
That's right.
If you don't, you're probably not listening to our podcast anyway.
Well, on the flip side of that, if you really are doing the work and you are with somebody in whatever type of relationship that very evidently does not want to do the work, I would like to remind you that you are not stuck there. Yes, you have something to look at. You have some decisions to make. And I'm not speaking to this lightly because sometimes it's a long-term marriage and somebody has just shut down. You get to decide, am I going to stay in this? Or am I going to choose differently? And those are tough things. When you really, really get down to it, those are tough things. Maybe something needs to be looked at. If you really, truly are doing the work and you really, truly are showing up in the way that you want to show up in the relationship and you're just not getting anything from the other side, you are not stuck there. You have choices and it is your choice to make.
Yeah, I think the key there that you said was if you're doing the work or if you've done the work. If you are with somebody who is completely not willing to show up on any level for you, well, then at some point you have to make a decision. Relationships are like friendships, reasons, seasons, lifetime. They're not all meant to be lifetime. They're not all meant to be even seasonal. Some of them are just for a quick reason. It's like, even if it's marriage, I really wish marriage was renewable, but that's another podcast.
And abuse is never acceptable.
Never.
Whether it's verbal abuse or
physical is never. Yes.
Verbal abuse can show up here. We spoke about that in the way that somebody's speaking to you or in the sarcasm piece or the put downs.
I would say that contempt gets a little close to actual abuse. One of the reasons that I said that would not work for me is because when it says it makes your partner feel unseen, I was like, that is my biggest fear in life is to be unseen and unimportant. So if you approach me with contempt, I consider it abuse.
Yeah.
I really do. Maybe you don't. That depends on your
Well, and then go back to our boundaries session.
For me, contempt is a boundary that's crossed by the definitions we were talking about today.
Yeah, I hear you. Oh, that was a lot.
That was a lot.
So we did our takeaways. Our takeaways were everything.
Everything. Our takeaways were everything.
Okay, into the questions. You want to go first?
Sure. What are your current hobbies?
Oh, gosh. Surviving? No.
Other than 3, 5, and 10
I
years.
was going to say, I have 3 children. It's summer.
That's what I meant by your life. I was like, she's so busy, but we all need hobbies still.
I still read before bed. I at least can hold on to that. That's been the thing that keeps me up because I have no time in the day, especially it's summer. So when they go to bed, I'm like, oh, where's my book?
Yeah.
Truly, one of my hobbies is practicing awareness. And I say that it's a hobby in that all day long, I'm thinking, okay, where can I practice this? Okay, I want to do this. Where can I do it? And that sounds weird, but I'm also a life coach. So it really is one of my hobbies. What I very recently was talking to my family about is you see these paintings behind me. I love fluid art, and I have just not poured paint in a very long time. So we have agreed as a family that Jen needs to get back into that very soon on my schedule. I'm scheduling it. We're putting it in. Yeah, to where I can get a little messy with the paint. I find it so cathartic, really. The mixing of the paint, the pouring, the lack of control that one really truly has is a really good way for me to kind of decompress and let the paint do what it does. It is a current hobby in that you see that I have done it.
Yeah.
It's been a while since pouring paint.
So I want to see more on that board behind you.
Yeah, we gotta clear it out. Somebody take these for me. I don't know what to do with them. Thank you for that question. Okay, so my question to you is, when was the last time you felt you needed to be brave?
God, that's a good question. I actually have multiple things popping in my head right now. Okay, so when I was in Hawaii recently, we went boogie boarding. Now I have to preface this with I'm a baby boogie boarder, not a real boogie boarder. So real boogie boarders boogie board like real waves, not like surfer waves, but like pretty good sized waves. Yeah. And they're really good at it. I'm like the little 2-footers, maybe. I'd say the size of the waves, and they're probably half of that. But I was boogie boarding, and I like the waves that take you all the way into the shore and take you right up on the sand. And there was a couple waves that were probably a little bigger than I would normally do. And I did them. I just felt proud of myself. I caught probably a dozen little fun waves, baby waves. I'm happy with that. So I showed up bravely. And that I would say is the physical bravery. I think the mental and emotional bravery, honestly, was starting and doing this podcast.
All right.
Because putting yourself out there and doing something like this and taking on the undertaking, and it seems so fun. And then there's so much stuff. So the mental load is a lot, and just getting it going. Cause I've thought for years about doing a podcast. I think that's the kind of business mental stuff. So that's my other answer.
And just for everybody, when Nicole and I talked about doing this, we both said to each other, I could only do this with you.
That's exactly right.
This can only work here.
I was like, there's nobody else. It's you're nobody. I don't have anyone else. I don't know. We have a vibe.
Well, I'm so thankful that you chose to be brave in that moment because I very much enjoy this with you. So thank you.
Thank you for tuning into today's episode and hopefully the entire special 3-part series on conflict. We hope these episodes have given you new insights and tools to navigate disagreements with empathy and understanding, especially during this holiday season. Remember, conflicts are a natural part of relationships, but how we handle them makes all the difference. We encourage you to reflect on what you've heard and consider how to apply these strategies in your own life. Before we go, we invite you to stay connected with us. Follow our podcast for more inspiring content and share this series with friends and family who might benefit from these conversations. Next week, we will begin our holiday series, packed with great insights and action steps to create a more peaceful season. Wishing you meaningful connection this holiday season from all of us at Lessons of the Journey. Happy holidays and see you next week.
Write your lines with passion, let your spirit freely roam. The lessons of your journey you